Well, how fabulous. The great Suko from New York has been to sing at one of my karaoke nights. Oh, and she just happened to turn up on Actually, no, the nights that I do, I host karaoke. If you ever want to come down, then please feel free to do so. All are welcome. Girls and boys, come out to play. Chris is there for you to... Yeah, do you know, I was never any good at poetry, dear. I was going to make up a poem, man. Chris is there for you to play, pray, stay, fray, lay. Chris is there for you to lay. Oh, no, that doesn't sound very good, does it? But I am available if anyone does want to... No, it doesn't matter. Welcome along. My name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk, our 3 times a week talk show. Just talking about karaoke there. Yeah, I do a karaoke night at Belushi's Bar in Hammersmith every Monday between 9 p.m. and closing. And Suko, one of our regular correspondents, who's a busy girl, aren't you, Suko? She came all the way from New York to the karaoke night a couple of Mondays ago now it was. Oh, fantastic. And it was so good to see her. Not only did I see her, I heard her sing as well. She came along with her friend Beverly and someone else. And I'm going to play you a little snippet of her singing right now, boys and girls. Suko Superstar. Oh, that sounds good. Suko Superstar, doesn't it? I quite like the sound of that, Suko. You see? I'm very good with names. I'm very good at making people's names up. Now, I won't play the whole of the song from Suko. However, at the end, those of you watching the show, I shall put the whole of the video of Suko singing at the end of this show, okay? So if you're watching the show either on Current TV, Blip TV, YouTube, Daily Motion, or any of the other people that host this show, hang around to the very end, and after I've said goodbye to the radio people listening on the radio and the podcast, I shall play Suko singing in her entirety for you to watch. Okay? This is the new singing sensation. Never mind Jordan Sparks, dear. Never mind... do you know, that funny enough, I was talking to James Dean. He hosts another podcast, Matinee Show.co.uk. And he said to me last night, a couple of nights ago, he said, do you remember who won the X Factor this year? And do you know what? I can't remember. I don't even know if it was a girl or a boy. Who was it who won the X Factor this year? Can't remember. But Suko, I have a feeling she actually was turned down for X Factor. What do you have in the States? Pop Idol. Okay? She was turned down for Pop Idol for sounding too professional. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Am I right, Suko? Yeah, I am. Of course I'm right, dear. I am always right. You should know that I am always right. Who is it? Oh, God, the noises have started again. Right, so let me just play you a little bit of Suko here. All right, singing at our karaoke night on Monday. Here we go. Have a listen. Have a listen. Have a listen. She's doing Dido, okay? Dido. Suko sings for United Kingdom Talk. Let me just stop that a second there and turn that off there. There you are. That's it. What do you reckon on that then, eh? Suko singing. Now, as I say, if you want to watch that whole little clip, it's about extra 3 minutes long, then just go. I'll tell you how to. The best way to actually find it is to go to youtube.com and type in Belushi's Karaoke. All right? And on there, you will find, because I actually recorded 2.5 hours worth of their karaoke night. If you want to see what it's all about, perhaps you were thinking of coming down one night or something like that, you want to see what it's all about, type into www.youtube.com, type in there Belushi's Karaoke, and you should find 2 videos come up there. Both of them are, one of about an hour long, and I think the other one, I think they're both about an hour and a quarter long, something like that, doesn't matter. And have a little look through that, and that is, they were recorded last Monday, just 2 sections of the entire karaoke night. So I bet you can't watch the whole 2.5 hours of it. It's tough going. You see, at karaoke nights, there are some people who sing very well, some people who sing very badly, and everything in between, but that's not what it's all about. It's all about having a bit of a laugh, and you'll be able to see, I've said to you before, I've been to karaoke nights, and they're a little bit too serious. Now, if you watch those videos, or one of those videos, you will see that we don't do serious. When I do a karaoke night, we try and make it as much fun as possible. So have a look there. Once again, just go to youtube.com and type in Belushi's Karaoke. I'll spell that for you. Belushis. Belushis. Have I spelled that right? Belushis. Yes, I have. Belushis Karaoke. You'll get 2 films come up there, and just have a little watch of one of those, and you can tell us what it's all about by email if you want. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Please feel free to join in at any time. It's always nice to hear from you, all right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Also, at the end of today's show, once again, this is a bit of an exclusive for those of you watching the video. I'm going to show you, I've started at last converting the larger spare room that I have in the house to make it a little bit more... how would you say? The little studio I'm doing this from is, again, another spare room in the house, but I haven't got much room in here. From side to side, I suppose it's, I would say 8-9 foot wide. Now, the other room is much wider, and I'm going to move the recording of... I'm not going to actually move this studio, but I'm going to certainly move the recording of this show into the other studio. I've got a few more bits to buy. I'm just saving a little bit of cash at the moment from some other bits and pieces. One of those proper tie-clip microphones. But if I go in the other room, I've got a lot more wall behind me. And one of the main reasons for doing this is because often over the years that we've been doing this show, people have, very kind people have sent in lovely things to the show. And I used to have them behind me on the wall before this studio was decorated. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the room to have it here. That's why all the stuff behind me doesn't really change. We just haven't got the room now the way this show's done. So I'm going to move into the other room, and I've started moving things around. So I'm going to take the camera in there after we've finished the main part of the show. And we'll play... what we'll do is we'll do the main part of the show for radio, and then we'll go in that room and I'll show you, the beginnings of what I hope will turn into quite a nice little thing in there, and then I'll play Suko's video. Okay, so that's what we'll do today, and as I say, do feel free to join in by email anytime, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I have been to the theatre again. I know. Twice in 2 weeks. I mean, there's no stopping me now. No stopping me now at all. And quite an easy journey in. I went to see the film with my friend Keith, who does a cabaret thing. He does actually two characters. He does the Boy George Experience, which is like a tribute show to all things Boy George. You know, he sings. Very good singer, Keith. One of the best singers that I work with. He really is, it's Keith. He also does a drag act called Mandy Gap, which I think I mentioned in the last show. The words Mandy Gap, that name, comes from the London Underground. If you get off a train at some of the stations on the Underground, you will hear an announcement saying, "Mind the gap." So do you get it? Mandy Gap, mind the gap. So I went with him, drove into London. Now, the theatre, as I think I was telling you, starts at 7:30. All the shows, I think all of them start at 7:30 in London. And it can be a bit of a job getting to park somewhere at that time, because we have a congestion charge in London, right? So if you drive into London at a certain time between... Now, let me get this right. I think it's 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Okay, so if you drive in between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, you have to pay a charge. And this is £8. May not sound much to you as a one-off, but, you know, people who are driving in all the time, it's a lot of money to pay that all week. Now, as I say, the theatre starts at 7:30. So really, you don't want to go in before 6 o'clock because you'll get the £8 charge. So what I did, it takes me a while to get into central London. I decided to jump in the car. I decided to drive this time rather than take the train in. I jumped in the car and I drove into London, left here about 4:45. Now, that was to avoid the traffic coming out of Bracknell at 5 o'clock. Because another thing you don't want to do, if you're in one of the major towns or cities in the UK during the week time, you really don't want to be travelling out of a town at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because that is rush hour. Rush hour starts at 5 and goes on, I suppose, till about 7. And it's a bit of a nightmare. So to avoid that, and remember, I'm going. Although I will get traffic coming out of Bracknell, I won't get it going into London, because once I get to, I'm going in, and most of the cars will be coming out, because we're talking about the afternoon, yeah? If I was doing it in the morning, it'd be the other way round. All the cars are going into London, but at 5, they're all coming out. So I'm going the right way. But I needed to leave Bracknell earlier than 5 to avoid that bit. So I left Bracknell 5 o'clock, no problem at all, straight down the road, joined the motorway, straight into London. And it was a very, very easy run, which surprised me. I'd left extra time to compensate for any traffic or anything like that I might hit, but I didn't have a problem at all with it. All right, so I did that. Got to Chelsea at round about 10 to 6. Now, at Chelsea, after one of the bridges, the congestion charge zone is. Right? And, you know, you can't go into this area and hope the camera doesn't catch you. There are cameras all around the entrance to the congestion charge right round the capital. I mean, it cost them an absolute fortune to put these cameras up, but they work. They do work very well. And you cannot get into the zone without paying the £8 fee. Now, the idea is you go to a shop. Some newsagents do it, or you can do it by telephone or on the internet. And I think you can do it either before or after you've entered the zone, but I believe you must do it by midnight. If you don't pay the £8 charge by midnight, it goes up to something like, do you know, I'm not quite sure now, but it goes up quite high. I think it might be even £100. All right, that's to make sure you pay your money. So always do it before 12 o'clock. So as I got to this bridge, I knew where the bridge was. I believe it's Vauxhall Bridge. I think it's Vauxhall Bridge. As soon as you cross where I'm not talking about actually crossing the bridge. The bridge is to the right of you. As soon as you go past that, bang, £8 congestion charge. So what you do is you keep an eye on the time. You do not enter the zone before 6 o'clock. So I got to Chelsea and I knew the bridge. It's actually 2 bridges away, but I thought I'll stop here in case people are stopping at the other end. So I indicated to turn left and I pulled into this like little parking space. It was a meter, but if you sit in your car, you're okay. You know, you don't need to put money in if you're actually sitting in the car, and there's a meter there. And I pulled into this place and I looked in my rear view mirror and there must have been 8 or 9 cars and I watched them all pulling into this to this parking bit. I thought, you tight-fisted people, not wanting to pay the £8 just like me did. We can't afford to spend money willy-nilly unnecessarily, can we? It's a liberty, that's what it is. So I could watch everyone. They were just sitting in their cars. I turned the radio on. I only had to wait 10 minutes, so that was it. And the 10 minutes was up. So then I pulled out again, followed by all the other cars again behind me, and we went into the congestion zone. I usually wait a couple of minutes after 6, you know, because you can guarantee some bod will have set the congestion zone cameras to come on bang on 6 o'clock. And if you're a minute out, you know, it's like 5:15. How peeved would you be then, eh? You'd be really peeved if you drove in and suddenly realised it was like 5:59. And you can guarantee they would charge you. Because that's what they're like. They need the money more than you and me, dear. They would absolutely charge you. So if you're going to do that, pull over, wait for 6 o'clock, wait another couple of minutes and then pull out and start driving in. So I drove through Chelsea. And as I say, the roads were very, very free. Really, ever so easy travelling along this road. There was there was traffic, but it was all smoothly flowing, you know, doing the maximum speed along there, 30 mile an hour. Went round Parliament Square, past Downing Street, and I parked in a side road just behind the Strand, next to the river. There's always parking spaces there. I'm just trying to think of the name of it. I can't remember the name of the road now. But you kind of go along the Strand, heading towards Waterloo Bridge, and then you turn right. There's a bit where you turn right, and around there are a lot of parking spaces. And I thought, you know, it might be hard to find a parking space. Not at all. Not at all. I suppose really because, you know, I got to this place round about 20 past 6. And I suppose people had just left their offices at that time. So all these parking spaces were free. So I pulled straight into a parking space there. Once again, I then had to sit in the car for 10 minutes because the parking spaces, you have to pay for them until 6:30. Right? And then after 6:30, parking becomes free. I could also have parked on the single yellow line. Once again, the single yellow lines in Westminster, you're not allowed to park on them until after 6:30, and after 6:30, they too become free. So I sat in the car pulled behind me, great big Range Rover it was, and the bloke got out and he was reading the sign about the parking restrictions there. And I said to him also, "Oh no, mate," I said, "you want to sit in your car for 10 minutes?" I said, "Don't even risk it." I said, "They hide. They absolutely do. These parking attendants, they're not parking wardens, they're not traffic wardens anymore. They're parking attendants. A nasty, nasty crowd of people employed by the council, I'm afraid. You know. Parking wardens, traffic wardens, are actually relatively nice people. They're the ones with the yellow band around their hat, and they will give you time. They seem to, you know, give you a little bit of leeway. But parking attendants, no, you won't get it. They're employed by the council. Nasty group of people. Nasty, nasty group of people, okay? And you will not get any time. Not at all. Be warned. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today, so I keep turning around and hitting the bottom so you can't hear me. Just like that, you see. Oh, did you hear me then? No, you didn't, did you? I thought I saw my little lights moving then when I was coughing. So parked the car, sat there for 10 minutes, and then got out of the car, shut the door, and I then went to meet my mate Keith outside a bar. Where did we meet him? A little bar called CXR. A strange place that is. It's quite large, and strangely enough, the toilets appear to be busier than the pub itself. Very odd. Have you been there? Well, I can't understand it. So he had a drink there, and he said, do you want to drink? I said, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. I wanted an ice cream. I don't know why. I was desperate for an ice cream. I think it was because last week I had an ice cream at Pizza Hut with Suko when we went to see The Lion King. So it was still in my mind that I must have an ice cream. So we found a Baskin and Robbins ice cream parlour, which was actually attached to, I think it was the Odeon Cinema in Leicester Square. So we just walked around there and we had 2 of those. And what did I have? This ice cream sundae with hot fudge in it. Blimey, it was nearly £4 each, which is an outrageous amount to charge for an ice cream. So between the 2 of us, it was £8 on ice cream. Absolutely horrific price. And usually I wouldn't have bothered, to be honest. But I don't know why I was so desperate for an ice cream and had a little sprinkling of hazelnuts on top. But it was nothing special, 2 scoops of ice cream and a bit of, what did I say? It was hot caramel, hot fudge sauce in the bottom. £8, no, it was £8.50 for 2. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. So I sat down there outside with my friend Keith. And then we went, after that, we went into the theatre. We got there around about 10 to 15 minutes before the show started. We went to see Priscilla, which is at the Palace Theatre. Okay? So we went in there and Keith had got the tickets. Not bad price, £59 each they were. I gave him the money. I had to pay for these ones. I wasn't being taken out, unfortunately. Not like Suko and her kind family taking me out to Lion King. I had to pay for the tickets, dear. Well, my ticket, £59 and 25 pence. Don't forget the 25 pence. Oh, actually, that reminds me, I did give him 60 quid. He didn't give me the 75 pence change. Oh, no, £59 and 75 pence. He owes me 25 pence. Oh, well, I shall have to sort that out when I finish the show. Everything has to add up, dear. Can't have people owing me money like that. 25 pence owed to Chris Reardon. What a cheek, dear. So we went in upstairs. Unfortunately, by the way, we were sitting in the dress circle. Dress circle, which is a very good viewing position. And you would think very nice seats. But I will come to that. Don't rush me. We can't do it all in one go, dear. No, you're trying to rush me. Don't rush me. So went up the stairs, showed the woman the ticket on the door. And the people on the door were dressed very smartly, all in black with a pink belt written around their waist. The campest thing you've ever seen in your life. Right? So we went in. Where do we sit, please? Oh, just go up the stairs and you're up there. Oh, thank you very much. So we went up these stairs. Lovely theatre. Very old theatre. But beautiful theatre. Went upstairs and he says, oh, I'm really thirsty. I said, oh, I'll get you a Pepsi. So I bought... Did he have a Pepsi Cola? I can't remember. But we got 2 drinks, which actually in the theatre were not overpriced. I think they were about £2 each. Which is dearer, of course, than the supermarket, but I didn't feel ripped off by that. But then, unfortunately, on the sweet counter, I saw one of those very large bags of Cadbury's Dairy Milk buttons. So he bought me a bag of those. Oh, and they were the giant ones, Cadbury's Dairy Milk giant chocolate buttons. Oh, they are to die for. So we're up there, and it was quite busy up there. Clearly, they don't have a problem selling any of the tickets. Really quite busy up there. And then we went into the theatre, and we were sitting right at the front of the dress circle. Now, I don't know if I've told you before, I'm not really one for heights. Okay? And from the front, if you're sitting at the front of the dress circle, after that, it's just a drop. Down to the stalls underneath you. Of course, and we're sitting at the front, and oh my God, I can't look down there. It was awful. Fortunately, You couldn't actually see directly down below you because there were lots of lights and that in the way there, all the lights which were actually throwing off quite a lot of heat. But, you know, for the amount of people in there, that they had very good air conditioning in there. I have to say, I didn't get hot at all. It was really quite pleasant. So, of course, you know, everyone's in their positions. We're not the first two seats, we're the third and the fourth seat along. And already people are sitting down, so we had to ask them to... I hate that, don't you? We had to ask them to move. Excuse me, can we get in? Because let me tell you this, we could not squeeze past, right? So these two got up and we walked past them. Well, I was leaning in towards the seats, you see. I didn't want to lean the other way in case I fell over the balcony. Oh, it is rather high. It's really high, so I'm not looking down here. I'm trying to lean this way, and I'm holding onto these seats while I'm walking along. And and we sat down. So in front of us is just like a wall, okay, a wall which comes up, I suppose, to round about chest height. And the first thing I realised was that there's nowhere to put the drink that you've just bought. You know, you're not allowed to take glass in. You take in these plastic cups of your drink, in our case, Coke, Pepsi or whatever it was. And although there's like a bit in front of you on this chest-high wall, there is a sign that clearly states, please do not place anything here in case of danger to the people below. And you can see what can happen, can't you? You know, you knock your drink over, it's going to go over the poor dear who's sitting downstairs directly underneath you. And really, there is nowhere to put a drink in that front aisle. I don't know about the ones behind us, but certainly in the front seat, there is nowhere. All there is a chest-high wall in front of you. So that's number one. And I kind of, well, I'll put it on the floor. Let me tell you, there is absolutely no room for your legs in those front seats. It was worse than sitting in economy seats on a plane. It really was. And I would advise you, if you ever go to the, what was the name of the theatre again? The Palace Theatre, where they're showing, I think that's the right one, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Do not sit in the front row of the dress circle, okay? Now, I've got to say, looking behind us, because I looked behind us to see how much room they had, and that wasn't much better. It really wasn't. There is absolutely no leg room in the front seats of the dress circle in the Palace Theatre. Don't buy... I mean, they're not cheap seats. They're £59, these seats. £59.75, I think it was. So please, if you ever go in there, do not buy... And I've said this 3 times, I know that. Please, I don't want you to make the same mistake of me. Do not buy those front row seats in the dress circle. They are, without doubt, the most uncomfortable seats I have ever sat in a theatre or cinema or anything like that. I've sat in cinema and sometimes, you know, there's not much room here. But really, my knees were, by the end of the first half, I had to get up. And I was out there stretching my knees and what have you. Not comfortable. And I'm not a particularly tall person. It must be awful if you're like 6 or 7 foot tall. Well, not 7 foot, you know, but if you're over 6 foot tall, or also if you're on the large side, you will not be comfortable. I was very jealous of the elderly man who was sitting next to me on the right because, of course, he was in the aisle and he had his feet out in the aisle. Really, really uncomfortable. Fortunately, they were funny, those two next to us. The entire crowd seemed to be really up for it, and throughout the show there was a lot of clapping going on, and along with the songs and that. These two next to us, they were just sitting there quietly. Quite frankly, I don't think they were enjoying the show at all. Fortunately, the show was fantastic. It is so over the top and outrageously camp. It has to be seen to be believed. It's fantastic. The lights and everything. The show starts and this enormous mirror ball just comes down from the ceiling and the crowd go wild and everyone's clapping and everything like that. So the show starts and it's starring Jason Donovan. Jason Donovan's in it. Fantastic. All the characters are played really well. The dancing is fantastic. The music is fantastic. And I have a friend in the show. His name's Wes, who he also does a drag act on the circuit that I work on called Cassidy Connors. If you want to have a look at that, okay, Cassidy Connors is his drag act name. His real name is Wes, and he's also in Priscilla as one of the main characters in that. And he's fantastic. He was really good. And although we were high up, you know, we're watching him on the stage, and at one point he did look up to us, and I did see him wink at me. So he obviously saw us watching that, which was really nice. The show itself, yeah, fantastic. The storyline, well... yeah, the storyline's all right. It's about this bloke who had a child who was 6 years old with a girl, but then decided he was gay and became a drag queen in Sydney, in Australia, and he went back after 6 years to meet his son, and at the end of it, it's all very nice. So that basically is what the show's about and what happens in between. But it's really, really very funny and very good. Go and see it. I mean, absolutely go and see it. The couple next to it, at the end of the show, and there are lots of parts in it where you can clap along to the music and all this business. And at the end of the show, you know, they're playing the overture. This couple next to us, this elderly couple, I think they were American, actually, because I did speak to them a couple of times. But at the end of the show, as soon as the curtain came down, they were off, mate. I'm not sure that they quite knew what was going on. But the theatre was packed, and it was great. If only, fortunately, as I say, the show was so good, it did take our mind off the seat. So there we are. Now, at half-time, my friend Keith did complain about this, and the woman offered to move us to another seat, which is fair enough. But Keith decided, and I decided that, well, no, we're put up with it and stay in that seat because, you know, the view was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. You could see absolutely everything from the seat. It was just so damn uncomfortable. Have you ever been at a theatre or a cinema where you've had a really uncomfortable seat? Do tell me about it. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So the show finished. I think they had something go wrong a little way through the show, and there was this clicking noise. Click, 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 click. It sounded to me like something turning round and it got stuck. And that carried on for 5 minutes. Didn't put me off the show. And then click, click. And all of a sudden we heard a bang, you know, like someone hitting something and it stopped. And we love it when it goes wrong. We absolutely love it. The costumes were fantastic. The scenery was out of this world, and they have a bus on the stage as well. You know, a single-decker bus or a coach, like what are they called? Not the traveller thing. What are they called? Like a caravan, but it's on 4 wheels and you drive. A camper van. That's it. A great big camper van on the stage, or more like a camper coach, actually. And this whole thing has got little lights on it. Oh, just amazing. Just amazing. So there you go. Go and see Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, at the Palace Theatre in London if you're coming across at any point. After that, we met our friend Wes at the stage door. We took him out for a drink back down to CXR and had a little bit of a chat there. And the thing is with Wes, and not just Wes, but doing the job I do, I like my main job. I'm a DJ and a karaoke host. They are the 2 main jobs that I'm paid for, okay? And certainly doing the karaoke, over time you get youngsters come in and sing songs, and some of them are amazingly good. They really are. Some of them are amazingly good. And you say to them, what do you want to do for a job? Perhaps when you're a bit older. Maybe they might meet you at 18, 19, 20, anything up to 25. Oh, I want to go in a show or something like that. And you just know the ones who are going to make it. You really are. And one of the best parts of doing the job I do is to see them coming along to perhaps one of my karaoke nights, and then seeing them 3 years later in a show or something like that. And often I say to them, I said, well, when you get in your show and you've made it big time, come back and see me, because I think you'll do it. And then you can tell me I was right. And they do. And there's been 3 or 4 of those, who come along to karaoke nights, and then they disappear. And sometimes you notice that they've got into a show, and then it makes me really proud to know them. And I love it. And Wes was doing this drag show, and had been doing so for a while. Drag shows in pubs and bars. A lot of the stages are not all that. Most of them are reasonably small little stages. And it's kind of, although drag queens are very well paid, but it's not exactly West End. And a lot of them want to do West End stuff, for which they have to take, it has to be said, an enormous pay cut. I mean, Wes earns nowhere near as much performing in Priscilla as he would do in his own drag show in a bar or pub. That's just how it works. But a lot of them want to end up on the West End show, and he's done it. I saw him doing this drag act, which actually was very good. First of all, he was doing it with someone, and the act was called Trashville, Tennessee. There were 2 of them, but then they split up and started doing their own thing. And now he does a drag act called Trashville, Tennessee, and he still does the occasional show, Trashville, Tennessee, on his night off. I think he only has 1 night a week off, Sundays. And the rest of the week he's in Priscilla. And, to see someone go from something small like that to being on a West End stage, I just love it. I love seeing people move up the ladder like that. Thus proving once again that, doing anything in entertainment, whether it's singing, dancing, DJing, whatever, it's not always, for me, it's never about the money. It should never be all about the money. Yes, you expect to be paid reasonably for what you do. But if money is the big motive for you going into something to do with entertainment, then I'm afraid you'll probably fail. And you shouldn't be doing it. Do not be led by money. All right? So great show. And he lives actually in Brighton, so he gets the train up from Brighton and back again. So he left us, actually I left as well, around about 11:15, so he could get the train back at 11:30. And I came home and I had the most brilliant night. And my friend Keith, great company to be with all night. And in fact, I think we're going to try and get Keith George on the show, all right, to chat about the things that he does, and perhaps do a little bit of singing as well, because he sings. And he's really good with makeup when he's on the stage. He has various different types of makeup, and he spends a lot of money on his clothes, Keith. He spends an awful lot of money on his act. He wouldn't think twice about spending £500 on a hat. So probably when he comes round here, he'll have all his costume on that, and we'll do a little show. Might wait until we get into the other bigger studio, which actually shouldn't take too long to do. I shall set that studio up, all right? Okay, Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is my email address. Have you got any experiences of shows that you want to share with us? Wherever you are in the world. Maybe, you've seen a show in Australia or America or wherever you are. Japan, What are your experiences of seeing a show? Or have you ever sat in a really uncomfortable seat? I tell you what, after I came out of that theatre, I was stretching my legs, and the next day I woke up in bed and my knees were still aching. This was cured by a trip to the swimming pool, which worked very well. I swam 54 lengths. I had loads of energy that day for some reason. I swam the usual 54 lengths, and then my knees were fine about that. But it's awful to be cramped up. I mean, it is bad enough in the back of a plane, isn't it, eh? In economy seats, and it's just awful. Just absolutely awful. So share your stories with me about that, Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. All right. We're talking about Belushi's. My friend Liam, also known as Spud, has now left Belushi's, which I'm quite sad about, really. We had quite a nice, friendly relationship with him. He's gone to work at Belushi's in Paris. He's got a little bit of an up... what's that called? A promotion, that's it. He's got a bit of a promotion there. So he's gone to work at Belushi's Paris with his girlfriend, Marianne. So a bit sad, really. But he had a good send-off. And he's actually on the karaoke videos as well, if you ever want to watch them, all right? Once again, if you want to find the Belushi's karaoke videos, just go to youtube.com and type in Belushi's karaoke, and you'll see the two there. All right? Email time, boys and girls. First of all, quick one here from a brand new listener, Heidi. Hello, Heidi, who is in Florida. We've got a few people watch and listen to the show in Florida. Welcome along, Heidi. And she says, "Hi, Chris. My name is Heidi. I live in the Tampa, Orlando area of Florida. Yes, I know that area. That's where I've been to 3 times. I love it. I love Florida. I want to see those lightning storms again that you have there." She's in Orlampa. Orlampa, is it? I don't know where Orlampa is. Oh, I get it. Orlampa is like a name made up of Orlando and Tampa, isn't it? Oh, very clever, dear. Very clever. Well, the last time I stayed was in Winter Gardens, which is a little bit out of it, isn't it? She says, "I have recently acquired an iPod Touch." Oh, well, I haven't got one of those. Actually, I might have to get a new MP3 player. I appear to have lost mine. It was only a small one, a little Creative Zen Stone. I do actually have another one in the car, but I had a bright yellow one, and I don't know where it is. I've got a feeling it's at the place I work at in Clapham. I think I might have left it there, but I can't find it anywhere. I can't listen to things. Oh, I'll have to get the other one out of the car and load that with some podcasts. Anyway, I do like the iPods, though, I must say, but I think they're so overpriced, aren't they? Don't you think they're overpriced? I mean, when I bought my Creative Zen Stone, or Creative Zone, I can't remember, what was it? Stone? Creative Stone, when I bought that, it was like £32 for this little thing, which is fair. But the iPods, they're all like over 50 or 60 or 70 quid, aren't they? Which is, I think you're paying a lot for the Apple price. Although they look beautiful, don't they? They do look nice. She says, yeah, recently... Sorry, I'm coughing away here today. An iPod Touch. Wanted to find some... I'm not coughing, am I? I'm clearing my throat. Mucus is coming up. I mean, if I'd have waited... It's because I haven't been up long. If I'd have waited an hour or so, it would all have cleared by now, wouldn't it? She says, got an iPod Touch. Wanted to find some suitable podcasts to listen to at night prior to going to bed. This will send you to sleep, no problem. In fact, you probably haven't got to this part of the show at all, Heidi. You're probably falling asleep by now, dear. Have you? I first listened to your show last night and loved it. Needless to say, I'll keep on listening. Keep up the good work. She says... I've been to the UK on several occasions and enjoyed it immensely. The people I've met have been friendly and accommodating. If your travels ever bring you to the great US of A once again, just remember you have a newfound friend here in Florida. And that's from Heidi. Welcome along, Heidi. The more the merrier, my darling. We've got a few people live out there in Florida. Listen to the show and regularly writing. There's Gloria. and her husband, and lots of people, and there's quite a few actually in Florida. Why is it Florida that there's more people in Florida? Haven't got any, and we've got Tennessee, we've got New York. Anyone in Nevada? Yes, we've got someone in Nevada. I don't know, other parts of America. No one in Alaska. Wherever anyone written from Alaska? There's not many people that live there. Oh, far too cold for me, dear. Oh my God, can you imagine the central heating bills? Be terrible, Heidi. Heidi, as you're new to the show, you won't realise yet, but I'm quite tight with the money, as you'll find out over the next few shows. All right, my darling? How am I? Quick one here from Richard in London, who saw my comment on Facebook. I am on Facebook if you want to join me on there. Chris Reardon UK is my Facebook name, Chris Reardon UK. And Richard noticed that I'd put on my Facebook status thing that there were uncomfortable seats. I was very uncomfortable in the seats in the Palace Theatre. And Richard wrote, "Follow my diet plan, Chris, and all future theatre trips will be nice and comfy." What a tip. Nothing to do with being fat. I beg your pardon, dear. What are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that I'm fat and that's why I was uncomfortable? It was my knees that were the problem, not my bum. That fat, very nice and apparently into that tiny little theatre seat. Thank you very much. Hello to Mark. We were talking about pianos and that the other day, and I've got a lovely Yamaha Clanova downstairs, and we're talking about piano tuning, weren't we? And I was wondering if there were many piano tuners still about. And hey presto, Mark writes in, he says, "Would you believe I am a piano tuner? He's been doing piano tuning for 30 years. And still getting plenty of work now." So thank you for that, Mark. Isn't it funny? You just never know who's watching the show. Often I'll say something about a particular job or something, and then hey presto, an email will come flying in from someone who actually does the job. Now, one job I'd like to do is drive a bus, and Wayne in Reading. Oh, sorry, Reading, in Oxfordshire, aren't you? He likes to make a point there. He drives coaches for a living. I'd quite like to drive a bus or a coach. Yeah. Don't know if I'd like to do it as a job. I don't think I could put up with all the miserable people coming on. Can you? Oh, aren't they awful, some of them, dear? Dreadful. Why can't people be happy in their sad, lonely, pathetic lives, eh? Dear me. I'm talking about swimming, actually. When I went in, and when my knees, and that sorted out my leg problems that were aching the night before. Went in the swimming pool. That was yesterday. And I was swimming up and down quietly, and there were two ladies in there, two elderly ladies who I said hello to, and they often say hello. They're quite nice to speak to them. And then these two old boys got in. They were about 55, I suppose, 55, 60. And there wasn't a lot of room in the swimming pool on this particular day because it was a Wednesday. And what they do is that they put a rope down the middle. On one half of the pool, they're doing water aerobics with lots of elderly people. And, well, actually, it's a third. Okay, 2/3 of the pool they're doing water aerobics, and the other third is left for people like me to do the swimming. And that's in there. There's 3 pools in there. I go in the one in the middle because it's warmer than the big one. And these two old boys got in as well. And immediately one of them done 2 lengths. You know, splashing, going at 200 mile an hour he was. And I thought, oh, here we blooming go. Anyway, done his 2 lengths, and he stopped at the other end, and his friend got in. They then sat there for 10 minutes having a conversation. And then he did the same thing. Suddenly he took off, swam at the speed of light down to one end and back again, and stopped again. And I said to these ladies, I said, do you know what? Why is it that people have to splash? And they don't look. These people who go at the speed of light do not look where they're going. It's so annoying, dear. It really is. And the water splashes and waves and all that. I just want to quite... You see, I go in there... I'll do about 54 lengths. And I won't stop. And I don't splash. I go at a reasonable speed. I wouldn't say I was fast. On the other hand, I wouldn't say I was slow. But I certainly don't splash people. I'm aware of people around me. You get these people, they come in and they splash everyone and they don't look where they're blooming well going. And it does annoy me, that does. And then he did another 2 lengths. This is over the space of about half an hour, right? And then he got out. So what was the point of that? I don't know what sort of point they're trying to prove. And you also get this a lot when people are, you become aware that people have decided to race you. And I won't be pulled into that. Because remember what your mums and dads told you? The snail always wins. And I quietly go up and down at a reasonable rate, and I usually complete my fit. Although recently I have been doing 40 lengths, only because of a time issue. It gets to, and you look at the time. Oh my God, I've got to go and do stuff. So I have done 40 lengths on occasion over the last week or so. But even if I do the 54, I will do them, and I will not stop at all for a rest. These people who sprint, they can only do a few numbers, and then they have to stop. And they're like that, aren't they? And then they do another, and then they can't keep it up. Me, 54 lengths, up and down, and usually, these people who have gone past you, you then pass them again, and then you see them getting annoyed. You see them getting annoyed because then you've lapped them. But they can't keep up. They might be able to beat you short term, but long term, you always win. This bloke only did 6 lengths. I counted them. 2, 10 minutes, 2, 10 minutes, 2, and then he was out. Blooming idiots. Right, onward. Here we go. It's Robert in Iceland. Hello, Robert. Dear Chris and friends of United Kingdom Talk. On days like these, I am minded to put pen to paper and record my thoughts on life and everything that stands outside the bounds of the mundane. I find humans so interesting, I really do. Take a moment and sit a while and watch the world around you. Oh, I love doing that. I do that. I don't always sit down, but certainly if I'm out shopping or something like that, you just stop and have a look around and see what people are doing around you. I did the other day, and while doing so, I was minded to see the similarities between us and the ants. Both rush along, and both follow lines to and fro from food to nest and back again. Both have short tempers when disturbed, and both find it hard to tolerate the other bunch in the nest nearby. Well, it was just a thought, and one I felt I need to share with you. Yeah, you're right there, aren't you? It's amazing when you look in, busy areas like cities or shopping malls. Hundreds of people, and we don't bump into each other, do we? We rarely bump into each other. Watch ants. You ever see a little trail of ants walking along? They don't bump into each other. Ever seen that? Or birds. You see birds in the sky. How do they do that? When you see a load of birds in the sky at the same time, all flying, and they're so close to each other, and they never knock into each other, do they? You don't see a bird, suddenly fall out of the sky. How is that? Robert says, life moves on, as it will up here on the roof of the world. I was out on my deck the other day and thought it's time to check over my skis. And as it happens, a neighbour thought it was time to state the bleeding obvious. Hi, Robert. It's summer, you know. You will have to wait a few months before the show returns. Really? Said I. And then my dry English humour kicked in. I said, these are not skis. They are English water skis designed by the world-famous Numpty Know-It-Allson. Do you get it? Know-it-all. Numpty Know-It-Allson. I've never heard of such a thing, he said. It's just the other bloke. I replied, well, I'm not surprised because they are rare and one can find a lifetime looking for a sloping lake to ski down. I think you got one over on him. Aren't people stupid? Sometimes the things they come out with, or they try and be clever. They try and get one over on you, don't they? When they come out and say things. Oh, you should have done this, or you should have done that. Does it annoy you? Especially when you're doing a job, perhaps, that you've done for many years, and someone why don't you do it this way? It reminded me of that bloke in the swimming pool a couple of weeks ago. Remember I told you about him? Why don't you put your head in the water? Because I don't want to. Oh, well, if you do, it'll be much better. No, I don't want to, thanks very much. Why don't you just try it? I said, because I don't want to. I don't have put my face in the water. Don't want to. That's it. Never have done, and I'm not going to start now. Do you remember I told you about him? And he went on and on and on about it. And in the end, I snapped at him. I swore at him. So why don't you mind your own business? You sound like a blooming old woman. And he did. He went on and on about it. I don't know what his problem was. I really don't. Let's see. Where are we now? Hello to Chris. Oh, actually, I don't think we're going to have time for this one. Chris in... Oh, where are you, Chris? Chris Scotty Jacks. I'm not sure where you are. Ooh. Not sure you are. We won't have time for that one because that's quite a long email. I'll do it on the next show for you, Chris, all right? And also there's a nice long Maureen email here from Maureen. And another one from Robert. And let me tell you, Robert, actually, Maureen's email refers to you, Robert, because she is apologising about a recent email about the elves. Do you remember that? Yes, she's apologising for that. Okay, so we'll do those on the next show. But now, right now, it's time to go. Now, if you're watching the show, stay there, okay? Because I'm going to show you how the new studio is coming along. The sound will be a little bit different because I can't use the other microphone as I'm going to take you around, okay? Join in by email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for listening to the show. I'll see you on the next one. For myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye. All right. Now, okay, those of you watching the show, we're now going to go and show you how the new studio is coming along. All right. Let me just get up out of my comfortable seat. And we'll... 1 minute. Oh, I can't get the camera off. There we are. Oh, dear. Oh, there... Oh. Nearly dropped the whole thing then, didn't I? Right, we'll take you out to where I'm going to be doing the show. And you'll see how it comes along over the next few days. Possibly weeks. I don't know how long it's going to take me to set it up. But here we are. Here we are in what will become the new studio for making the show. Now, that wall there, which you can see in front of you, is painted green at the moment. There's a cupboard. Do remember, I mean, this is like a spare bedroom, really. Okay, I'm not pretending. We're not like some expensive office block in London, but this is the room. Okay, now at the moment it's just a plain green wall. I've already moved that in there. That's going to be one of the background items. As you can see, it's like a glass cabinet with bits and pieces put in it. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in it yet, but as I say, people have always sent things in here to the Mirrorball studio, and I want to put some of those behind me. Now that black wall there, or the green wall there rather, what we're going to have to do here is possibly get some polystyrene foam, because otherwise it's going to echo too much. All right, so I need to put some polystyrene foam up there, and then that will be covered itself, hopefully, with a black curtain, which at the moment is sitting there on top of a wardrobe, and that's it really. I should be putting some lights up this wall here. Okay, that will be where the camera sits. So the camera will have its back to that wall like that, facing forward. All right, I'm letting you into all these secrets here. Secrets, dear. Now this here is a temporary bed. Well, it's not actually a temporary, it's a proper bed, it's a proper double bed. But I'm going to leave that up against the wall, so if anyone still wants to come and stay, then I can still put that up. There's other bits and pieces that are left up there at the moment, all waiting. Nice little table lamp that we'll be using for the show. some other bits and pieces of people that have sent stuff in. I've got my cowboy hat that Susan once sent in, who stayed in Dallas. I think I might also put one of my old Scout shirts up. I've got an old Scout shirt here with relative all badges on it. Look, I've got my 1977 Queen Silver Jubilee badge on that, and I've got loads of stuff on that, so I might put that up on the wall as well. And you see, once the camera is positioned here, you won't actually see the bed, or indeed the set of drawers here as well that I've got with bits and pieces in the set of drawers there. Another cupboard there. This is actually where I keep all my shirts that I wear for the show. You see, I'm sure you'll recognise some of them. There's that bright green one, the other one, and bits and pieces, and all sorts of other rubbish. This is the cupboard of lots of bits and pieces. I'm sure you've got one of those at home. All right, so that's it. I'll let you know how the studio's coming along over the next few days or weeks. I don't know how long it's going to take. I've got to order some foam or I don't know if I should use foam or polystyrene. I'm going to have a little look on the internet when I finish the show and see what's what. Anyway, and now it's time for Suko's video. Yes, boys and girls, Suko singing the recent... her recent visit to my karaoke night, and after that I shall disappear. Right, thanks for watching the show. Stay around, Suko singing, and then we'll have the closing film. I'll see you on the next show. Thanks for watching. Come on, make some noise for where's the Americans? You've got a load of you lot over there. Do you know Suko? Do you know Suko? I can't understand it. They're from America. They don't know you. Don't understand it. Oh yeah, Suko's here. All right, here we go. Oh, hang on a minute. Because we've got another small person. There we are, Suko, darling. All right, love. Do you like the top? That very colourful top we got on this evening. For the first time ever, Suko sings at a karaoke doing White Flag by... Is it Didos? I beg your pardon, Dido. There we go. Sorry? Suko from New York sings for the first time at a karaoke night. Thank you, Suko. It's a long way to come.